All right, welcome to Raising Funds for World Domination, Day 95. So, on the renovation intro, there's no update on here. There is an update on the videos. I finally finished the video that I'm working on today, and I did a render of it, and I still need to review it and check for errors and possibly re-render it. And actually, I just forgot. I should change the saturation up a little bit on it. Re-render it probably tomorrow, and then I'll probably be able to post it. No work on world domination plans, and that's it for the intro. So, as always, we will continue with work on the terminal block mining simulation game. So yesterday, I think I added a new test case. I still have a bunch of bugs. Let's see what it looks like now. Orthoplex 64 sends a wave. Yoshi Kanka Kira sends hello world. How's it going? Yeah, so as it is right now, the UI is still messed up, and I'm still mid refactor of this layer merging thing. I naively thought it was going to take me like 1 or 2 days to fix that merge non-null characters function, and now here I am, like, I don't know how many. It feels like I'm trapped in a fever dream trying to get it to work, but we'll get through it. I added some test cases, kind of hoping that the test case would catch something. I'm actually thinking there must be an offset problem here somewhere. But I was thinking today, what maybe makes sense is so we'll run tests. So that looks crazy, but that's a pass. I think maybe what I'll do is, this will probably take a few days, but it would make sense to maybe just write a really good unit test that does a lot of work, because I think I already have the basics, and I think the layer merging thing works, or the overlap, the new method of detecting overlaps. Raiden says hi. How's it going? Frida La Jolla says, "Hi, Robert Holder Software. How's it going?" Is it possible to ask for or suggest features for the block mining game, I guess? Sure. I don't know if I'll be able to implement them, but right now my priority is just getting the UI fixed, and that's probably going to take me a bit. Could the game allow users to skin the universe with their own emoji, as well as have a procedurally generated city-like structure? For the skin, there's actually there's a file you can edit called block skins. Yeah, I tried to eventually centralize everything in here. So if you change this, that should change the representation of that actual character. So this is just the escaped Unicode sequence, or yeah, I think it's UTF-16. So some of these are a couple characters. But yeah, so that's so if you can get it compiling from source, then you can just update those. For the procedurally generated city-like structure, the procedural part is done, but the city-like structure, that would be quite a bit of work. There's many different approaches you could maybe use for that. But it's beyond the scope of what I can do now. Do you think pirate software will make it through the fire? Or will he go the way of most lolcows now that he's become one? How's the weather in Canada? It's 100 degrees here. As for pirate software, I'm tangentially aware. Like, I'm aware there's like some controversy. He let his team members down in a raid, and that was some controversy in a WoW raid. I think they were in like hardcore. They were in like hardcore mode or something. I don't really know or care about the detail behind it. And then there's so there's the software stuff. I guess he kind of bragged about his, or he maybe exaggerated his qualifications or something, or I don't know even know if he did. Yeah, I don't really follow the story. I've seen like 10,000 like reacts and stuff, things pop up in my feed, but I don't care to click on them. In my opinion, overall, I think it's positive that people are there's like controversy around someone writing software, and the alternative reality is a world where there's drama about like Kim Kardashian or something, or like I don't know how many other I don't know, celebrity drama, like the old school classical Hollywood drama, like when what's his face, I don't even remember, Will Smith slapped some guy in the face, and then people are talking about it. Like, who cares about any of that? I think it's positive where people are I don't know how broad the audience for this content goes, but as for the heat, it's quite warm today. I am uncomfortably warm tonight. Why he's under scrutiny now? People are analyzing all his moves. Yeah, I have noticed that. I don't know. I guess he's kind of he's just fun to hate on or something, or maybe there's. I don't know. The 4D chess move would be like the way. What was that? That stop killing games or something. So he like criticized that movement. The 4D chess move on that would be to criticize that. If you criticize it on purpose, to make people like rebel against him and then sign the pledge and elevate it and cause controversy and like manufactured fake drama about that. I'm not saying he did that, but I am saying that if that was the plan all along, that would be a successfully executed 4D chess move. $100C is boiling water. Yeah, it's warm. It's not about his raid gone wrong. It's just he won't admit he was wrong over and over again. Stop killing games was the nail in the coffin. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, people like, has he been successfully canceled? Does he has his income gone to zero, and does he have no viewers now? I know he like lost some subscribers or something, but I gotta do work. I gotta be productive. Can't be I can't be watching these YouTube dramas. said he got his game to run on a smart fridge. They found out it was from a laptop, so he's a fibber. Drama is fun on your break. Honestly, I've been what's been distracting me is like geopolitical news. I don't know if you guys follow what's going on, but historically, there's always some like escalation somewhere in the world, and then people are like, "Oh man, it's World War III." But there's a number of like, I think very significant things that are happening in many different regions and jurisdictions that are kind of unprecedented. So we may have a very interesting future ahead of us. Have you started to use LLMs at all in your game? I've not at all. It's on my to-do list. My recent priority has been working this to try to get it to the next release, and then also put out some videos. And I just finished the rendering of a video today. I don't know. I gotta do that eventually because people can't keep asking me about it. Anyway, it's on the to-do list. Let me started on geopolitics. World is going crazy. World War III, probably. Yeah, I mean, it's like I don't want to have a World War III. It's kind of fun living in a peaceful country that's not at war. But if we go to war, it's going to make everyone sad and stressed out, and all the resources we're going to have to like ration things, and and then and then the government's going to become more authoritarian, and you got to like be more secretive with stuff, and you can't just like go to the park for a nice day. Not up to us. Yeah. Looking forward to your LLM video. Yeah, I guess I will have to prioritize that because it's I guess it makes sense. I'm a dinosaur now that I still code the old way. Sup, Chief? Not too much. Just working on the block mining simulation game. You should use LM Studio if you're going to do an LLM video. LM Studio, never heard of that. Which conflict do you think is unprecedented? There's a bunch. There was actually I think like an escalation today with Lithuania and I think Lithuania and Estonia. there was like some incursions into their. There was a drone that flew into Lithuania, and then there was some Russian ship that when it was like within territorial waters of Estonia, and they're summoning the Russian ministers to say something about it. It's not the Russian stock market's starting to tank a bit. Trump gave an ultimatum to Russia within like 10 days to do something, or they're gonna like, I guess, escalate in some way. So I guess it's not those things are kind of unprecedented. There's also a substantial change in Taiwan. Apparently, there's I guess kind of out of nowhere, there's very pro-Beijing people in the legislature of Taiwan recently. It's like the last week or so or something. And so that's kind of shifted the mood and sentiment there. We're going through our generation of Watergate scandal. No one cares. The world has become so polarized. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. It's not it's basically geopolitics. The Epstein stuff. That that just never ends. It's just constantly talk about Epstein every single day for like 5 years now. And then what that FBI director guy said was like he saw some information. He's like, I will never be the same after learning the truth. This is crazier than I ever thought. But then they just don't release the information. They're just like trying to get a rise out of people over and over again for years. Hard to care about foreign countries when your own people are overdosing in the streets. Maybe fix that first. That would be a good idea, but it's also foreign conflicts are becoming domestic conflicts. Like when I try to learn about, why are there so many people coming here? What's their story? Why do we have like clashes between Eritrean factions here in Toronto parks? And then so I have to like learn the geopolitics behind it. Shifting to going my own food and self-sufficiency. Can feel the mercury rising. Yeah, it's it kind of doesn't, like under any other circumstance, it would seem like a crazy hyperbolic thing, but there does seem to be a consensus among people that many things are at a boiling point. Also there's like so many unrelated geopolitical financial things that are going to be unprecedented. Like I think the condo market in Canada is starting to crash for the first time. Like we've had 30 consecutive years of increasing real estate, and there's some people are finally starting to anticipate that we will probably go into a massive correction soon. So of course that's going to put financial stress on a whole bunch of people, like institutions, governments, individuals. It'll be exciting to see what happens next. Doesn't the real estate market need to crash in Canada? It's crazy. Housing prices. Yes, it very much needs to crash. Although the consequence of that though is like, well, I mean, one issue with that is, in order to finance housing, we have the CMHC. So there's a whole bunch of mortgages that are now backed. Actually, someone was showing a chart, like because it's becoming impossible to build anything, like the inflation has gotten to the point where even at the crazy rental prices, it's economically infeasible to build new housing. So like if you build, like, housing prices are too high to afford, condo prices are too high to afford now. But even if you build one, the cost of building it for developers to build it and get the financing, they can't sell it at a profit, even with the high prices. So as a consequence of that, a lot of that, the recent stuff has been underwritten by CMHC, which is a Crown Corporation, so basically funded by your tax dollars. So that started some of the new construction, but it's basically like taxpayer subsidized construction at a loss. So it's yet another thing that, our tax dollars are getting dumped into. And eventually, like, something's going to give. I also suggest you name your terminal block mining simulation game Axel Heiberg Terminal Block Mining Simulation Game, or something like that. Mining Axel Heiberg. Yeah, I think eventually well, once there's actually more content in it, then I'll think more about theming and and whatnot. For now, we'll just keep calling it Terminal Block Mining Game. No way housing will crash. I said that for 40 years. I mean, eventually the, something will give. Like, it'll be the consumers will collapse, or the country will collapse, or will get invaded, or foreign country will take over. Housing is such an outsized part of GDP, the economy wouldn't take a crash very well. Yeah, that's the thing. Not sustainable. Yep. State affordable housing will be a lower tier of housing. That's why they're investing in modular homes. I mean, it's kind of silly because, like, I was just Googling, one day I sat down and Googled some of this a bit, just to come up with, like, the numbers, but, like, how many man hours does it take to build a house? And, like, one individual working by themselves can build a house in, like, 1 or 2 years. Now, you also have to get the materials, but like, it's not, one person can, like, if to actually buy a load of, like, logs is, $1,000 or $2,000, and for, like, maybe 1 or 2 loads of wood, that's enough lumber to build a house. So most of the lumber you can get for a couple $1,000s, and the labor, if you do the labor yourself, and then of course there is, there's going to be other stuff like the roof trusses, electrical and stuff. There is going to be expenses, but like an individual working by themselves can build a house. It's not but the fact that people have like 30-year mortgages and stuff now, it's just, the system we've built doesn't make any sense. Loot boxes would be easy. Custom icon and variable increase to mining number. I could do that. How does this get cheaper every time? Every year when priced in Bitcoin. Yeah, I've heard that too, but when it's priced in gold, is that housing has actually gotten cheaper. It's the debasement of our currency that's really what's going on. Glad to hear you say that. I realized the same too. Oh, you mean about the math on building a house? Yeah, I mean it's kind of insane when you think about it. Like every single person goes to work for basically their entire lives to pay off the mortgage on a house, whereas like if you just ran away from society and lived in the woods, you could build your own house in like, it'd be an enormous amount of work, but it's also an enormous amount of work to work for 30 years to pay off a house. So yeah, the system is there's a lot of value being lost somewhere. It's my dream, live in the woods. So when it all collapses, I won't notice for 10 years. Yeah, that's a good way to structure things. It's like when you're writing software and you don't have dependencies, and then everyone's like, "Oh no, the dependency. There's a supply chain attack," but you're like, "Oh, I don't use that. No problem." Value goes to banks and construction middlemen. Actually, in some of the real estate channels that I watch, apparently like new constructions, like some of the new constructions, they're actually losing money. And when they do make money, the margins are like absolutely razor thin. It's like 5% margins. But apparently like around the development charges are a massive percentage. It's either like up to 1/3 or a half of the cost of a house or a building now goes to taxes, and the justification it's like because you got to build sewer mains and roads and stuff, and fire department services and sewer and hookups and stuff. But the government just kind of the municipal governments just use that for kind of whatever, and it hasn't been accounted for very well. Singapore built government subsidized housing and required the tenants to buy it. Everyone is a millionaire homeowner now. Canada could do the same. They required tenants to buy it. Yeah, I don't know. I think the more the government gets involved, the more they're going to screw everything up. And some of that too can be like if it's propped up by a bit of a bubble, if there's a real estate bubble there, that can artificially make that look like a good idea. Realtors get a cut too. A lot of people get their real estate license just so they can remove that cost for family members on home sales. Yeah, that's a common thing that people do, I know, but from what I understand, it's extremely hard to be successful at that. Like, a lot of people think, oh yeah, I'll just get my real estate license and become a realtor, and then they do it and go through, all their rigmarole, and they'll spend like 2 years trying to sell, their one property, and they're not successful at it. And apparently, there's recently like a massive, it's like record number of realtors didn't renew their license because I guess the year prior, the average realtor sold less than one home during the year in Toronto. My house on Lake Michigan has tripled in value over 10 years. Probably selling it a few and moving to Montana. Nice. That's good to hear. You own property. You're rich now. 5% margin sounds terrible. This business, especially with all that effort. And liability is construction too. Yeah, I've heard too. I think some of them are even taking a loss. Like they got into these projects years ago, and so they're like 80% done one of these construction projects. And when you're at that point, even if you're like once this finishes, they're selling condos. To finance the construction, they have to sell 60 to 80% of the pre-sales or something. So those are like people put money down, like mostly investors. And that's one actual value investors bring to the economy, is that they're the people that sit on it for 5 years. Because if you want to buy a condo, you don't want to sit around for 5 years with that risk that the developer goes bankrupt or something. So investors come in, they buy 60 to 80% of the pre-sales. And then when the construction is done, what is apparently happening now is a bunch of them, contractually, they're supposed to take delivery of it and put up some more money. But a bunch of them are just walking away because they bought it at a certain price, but now the market rates have gone down so much and they don't have enough cash to come up with the difference. So they're just trying to walk away from the deal, and they're getting sued and stuff. And there's a ton of that stuff going on now. Right, there's all this new construction. It's mostly in a specific class of condo that was built specifically for investors, and it's not really livable. Singapore screwed it up so bad. It's the 4th richest country in the world, and the size of San Francisco. Singapore is also a kind of a strange country. Yeah, they have that authoritarianism, but also I think that's there's a lot of money laundering that goes through there, and there's a lot of shady stuff. So some of that real estate is likely propped up by illicit activity, which is also, I think, a big part of the reason why our prices are so high. There was TD Bank was found guilty for money laundering like the bank itself. I'm broke, super broke. My sub pump broke. I have to dig it out myself. Fix it for $50 in parts. If I had it done, it would be $3.5 grand. Well, at least, I mean, you've definitely got a decent amount of equity, and if you continue to be frugal like that, then you'll do very well in the long run. Canadian real estate has been wildly speculated. Speculated to be money laundering, yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's money laundering and all kinds of other funny business. I have $200K in equity until I don't. $1 million house in Canada. It's like a shed, right? In the city, there are some specific examples of like things that are valued, or they're trying to sell it for like, over $1 million, and it's just like a tear down. It's like you go inside it, and then it's like there was a homeless person in it. They like destroyed the place with a fire, but the location is just really good supposedly. But there's a YouTube channel. I think his name is Millennial Moron, and he has if you search for YouTube on castles that are cheaper than houses, and he goes through a few examples of like French castles that are like $900,000. They're like these mini castles, and they're cheaper than just some dump. And now that's some of that is, those are kind of the exceptional cases in the city. I think maybe more average is like I guess you could look up all the averages, but like a super nice house in the city is like 1-2 million. Then you can probably find something like kind of in a city area, like in a not great location, for like 600,000 or 700,000. And then if you go out of the city, I think you could find stuff for 400,000 and below. Now, of course, those are Canadian prices, and our currency, I think, is going down in value. So I guess eventually they might become cheap. I think that's actually kind of the government's plan, is just to like further debase our currency, and that's going to be where the crash is. Like the price is going to stay high, but the value of a currency is just going to go closer to zero. Got the terminal support started. Actually, have invoking and emulated theaters. They could be interchanged. The invoking updates the terminal in which the command was involved. A Pygame-based terminal-like emulator. Both theaters are very simple. That's for terminal support started. That's from the project. The project you showed me. It slips my mind. Was that the one with? I think you said it was emulated raindrops. Luton? Is that the name of the project? Off-topic question: what's the hardest concept to learn in programming? I think there's probably a couple of ways you could answer that question. Because when you to define hardness, one aspect of hardness is like pure, intellectual, intrinsic complexity, like a hardcore mathematical concept, where it's like the complexity and difficulty of it is like an intrinsic part of the universe, and then the other end is stuff that's mostly the madness of humans, so just tedious stuff. So on that end, one example I'd give is it is hard to learn a specific programming language good enough to write a compiler for it, because you have to it just takes you days and days. It'll take you forever to learn all of the rules, and there was a while I tried to learn C very well, so I started studying the standard, and there's just so many random stupid rules that are it's just like a list of exceptions and exceptions to exceptions, and I'd say that's hard because it's exhaustive, and it's not like you can go into a room and just think really hard about it, or sit down with a piece of paper and calculate it how it should be in your mind, because you just have to read the rules. The rules are what they are, and whether they make sense or not. And then the other end, I don't know. I'd have to pick a random one. I had a lot of trouble with graph theory. That's one of the tech demos to prove the logic. The end game is to have a dungeon looter. Neat. Luton is a channel I watch on YouTube about Warhammer. Hardest concept to learn is that you can't learn it all. Well, that's easy to learn. Sounds like C is exceptional. It depends what you mean by. Okay, I get it. It's exceptional. Yeah, I guess I mean every language is also exceptional. It's not a lot that are super internally consistent. Can I do that? I'm not even sure. I'd rather learn COBOL before C. That's very old school. No secondary loot for cash market. Our weapon is charging 1% transaction. I was someone suggested I had like gambling or something. I was thinking it would be kind of fun to add a gambling feature to the game, where the odds, where it's a fixed loss. It's a fixed odds of 0%. So you just like you roll some dice or something, and then you just instantly lose all of your bet 100% of the time. And it wouldn't really be different from other gambling. Can't you just get a job super fast if you learn COBOL because nobody knows it? It's still needed. I hear that repeated a lot, almost as if it's like a meme. I have actually no idea if that's true or not. Like it seems like the kind of thing that would be true, but then again, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of people who think that that's true, and then they try learning it, and then they try to get a job, and they struggle, and they're just like, I'll just apply for this React position, and then they just don't use it. COBOL is kind of a weird language. I own some COBOL. Actually, I have a video on my channel about COBOL. I went through a COBOL punch card program. Right, generic array creation. So yeah, I guess I can't do that. That'd be a fun mechanic, but useful if you want to get rid of coins currency, or if you allow materials to be gambled. You could risk 10k stone for no reason. Yeah, it's a potential feature to add. % of banking still uses it. How goes development? All right, I still got some bugs decided to start working on a more like general. I have a bunch of test cases that test the whole layer merging in some individual cases, but I still have some significant bugs. So I'm gonna go for a more like general approach that just like randomly generates a bunch of characters on the screen and randomly merges them together. And that should catch a lot more bugs. I'm just going to build it up first with like, put a random A character in one place. Make sure that works. And then put an arbitrary number of A characters. Yeah, kind of like a bit, I want to go, I was hoping I could get away with not doing this because it's like more work to add all this. I thought I would be done this refactoring work in a couple of days, but I think it'll be a much better result to just go a bit closer to fuzzing it. That'll be better if I need to do more optimizations, because more optimizations always makes it more complicated. But then more complicated means more bugs, more like edge case bugs that don't surface all the time. PC Mag is an article from late 2003. Was it a 43? Vol banking uses COBOL. Fuzz testing, but make sure you set a seed value for reproducible results. Yep, actually I do. I always have that. Sorry. You need practice writing tests? I thought you had written enough tests with those frameworks you had to try out. Need more practice writing code that is testable. You can test any code as long as you can articulate the output. I guess some things are not really unit testable, but been a while since I had to get code coverage. for a project like I did at USDA soil conservation. Power mock begs to differ. I wouldn't know. I never used it. 613. You can mock static values and static functions with reflection magic. You can mock static values and static functions. I guess I don't even really know what that would mean in this context. I know of I know what static values and static functions are. In mock testing, as I understand, mock testing just means like when you have some dependency, like a file or a data, like you could, mock a file by just passing in a buffer, or you could mock a database by just having some like hard-coded thing that returns a value instead of actually doing all the database stuff. But for mocking static values, because I'm not really sure. You mean that you could like mock things using static values? Array index out of bounds. Oh, that makes sense. Why is that wrong? No replacement of statics and their behavior. So you can hit dead code that the real value and functionality would prevent you from ever hitting. I'd have to like Google this a bit for a minute. I really don't. I guess in my mind it just doesn't compute. So you could effectively test dead code in your application with statics and reflection. I think last time I did some mocking was with Mockito a decade ago. When you make stupid metrics for developers, they play stupid games with reflection. Yeah, that sounds like a pretty crazy use of reflection. I guess I haven't used that many. Like when I think about reflection in Java, I think about like using generics and stuff to like create generic instances of class types at runtime and like dynamically call a constructor and figure it out. And like use get class and probe that and stuff. Unit tests. I think these are unit tests. They have they're in JUnit and they have the add test on them. So this value is out of range. You can edit the abstract syntax tree at runtime. You can edit the abstract syntax tree of the Java program. Huh, I didn't even know that you could do something like that. Index out of bounds. Index 10 for length 10. Width height, width height, width height. X and Y, X and Y. What's going on? Why doesn't it work? Private variables, or is that no longer private? It's the forbidden Java knowledge. Huh. I didn't know that. So you can. So it is possible. Oh, that's an interesting tidbit. I'll have to Google that. How to use reflection in Java to access a private member. I didn't know you could do that. I was not aware that reflection was so crazy. And you said you can edit the abstract syntax tree and runtime. Wonder what the source to Minecraft looks like. I think this is definitely a big fan club of it out there. It's probably there's probably even tons of analysis videos out there people have done, going through like decompiled code. Gotta go to bed. Peace. Have a good night. Haven't been many random trolls lately. Yeah, that's good. There are, I guess, no more trolls on the internet. Robert solved the trolls. Must have mined all the troll blocks while testing game. Alright, let's figure out why this doesn't work. Where's my window? Debug. Oh, there we go. That's crazy slow. Step into. Okay, random coordinate is 1310. Hmm. $13.10. Oh, that's not quite what I want. Hopefully that doesn't break everything else. All right, that's good. You are the top commenter. But I don't know, some of those comments are kind of spammy. Baxes, hello, what are you doing? I'm currently working on some test cases for my terminal-based video game. Have you ever thought it's a waste of your potential? I think there are many things that are a waste of my potential. All the dead-end projects that I worked on in the past, the work that I did and did not get paid for. But why are you still working on things that won't provide you anything? Why build something which doesn't benefit you in any way? This project actually derives revenue. It's part of a like a larger project. Once the base version of the game actually works, like once it's actually a bit more pleasant to play, I'll probably do like another drive of get people to do sponsored block types. And the more content I add to it, the more I can actually the less it becomes like an insane, unintelligible idea. And the fact that I can actually get some people to pay anything for it in its current state, I think is indicative of the long-term thing. I think the way to be successful now is not only also to derive revenue on like individual sales, but to be able to make money on the process. So there's many people who want to build things. There's many other people who want to build games. So there is also revenue and marketing that can be derived from just like talking about it publicly, doing the streaming. People stop by and they just send like $20, like, hey, this is interesting. And that $20 is $20 more than the like negative thousands of dollars that I wasted on all the projects that I worked on in the past and did not lead to revenue for customers. Actually, Don't know, man. First time I saw your channel, I had really lots of expectations. Seeing always streaming this, it seems like you are in a burden, kind of. I don't even know what that means. Radman, I'm going to time you out tonight. I've warned you before about spamming, and a couple of the things you set up there are just, I don't know why you're always spamming that stuff. Oh, there's been a lot of chats. Do you think UK privacy crackdowns will come to Canada? I think they already have. Not staying. Just had questions. Ask them. How to make a CPU? That's a good question. I get that question a lot, so I made a dedicated video on it. Just got here. Sounds like the band hammer clicking. I timed him out. A lot of his chats are not too bad, but he's just every once in a while he chats things that are a bit spammy and not relevant. Looks like they found another way to spam with emotes. Maybe. I didn't even notice them. I don't know if that makes a difference. I do notice sometimes it'll there'll be lots of icons floating up. I guess, does that mean that every time you see an icon float up, that means someone's clicking it? Like right there? That's a lot of work to click that. Okay. That works now. Not terribly intrusive. Maybe they're showing support. It is engagement. Yeah, it is. I barely even notice when it's happening, so I assume it's positive. My turn to head out. Gotta prep for tomorrow. Have a good night. All right, that passes. All right, now that I found the new thing that works with the newest Java, I'm out. Yeah, I thought you went to bed before. Radman2 says hello. How's it going? All right. So now I should be able to just increase this to get more test cases. I knew, but there was a thing. There was a thing that did a thing. All right. Well, have a good night. Just made another account to say good night. Well, have a good night, Radman 2. Suspiciously similar to Radman 1. Right, that works with one layer. That background from the previous test is very distracting. Hey Rob, what things to plan for the game going forward? The immediate thing is to get the user interface issues and lag resolved. If I do continue working on it, probably the next major push will be to implement multiplayer. So I think that'll be a pretty big, even with like almost no content in the game, I think it would make it a lot more become an interesting project to get people involved. Did I do that wrong? Oh yeah, that was it. Right, now let's see what happens if I merge the layers. say terminal dev versus IDE is more about preference, or there are major benefits to one? I've only ever used IDE. I can't imagine using terminal dev without going crazy. I would say, so I actually have been using both. So using a debugger is just incredibly useful. Like when there's something like crazy going on with the test case, I just go in here and click that, and then I can, immediately be like looking at that. I can inspect the internal state and hover and stuff. I guess what pushed me to use terminal development was just working on computers that are really slow, that couldn't run Eclipse, and they would crash when the IDE was running. I ran out of memory. So then I since a long time ago, I learned to code in Vim, and I guess I've gotten a workflow going. Wow, this is really bugged. What's going on? Yeah, I learned to develop in Vim, and one of the big things. So I do miss like autocomplete, but there was like for the most part, I just kind of remember what I'm working on, or I copy paste and modify something else. But there was a case here, like just did it tonight. Yeah, this thing, I knew that this existed, but I couldn't remember it. So then I just switched into the IDE and like just used the and it's so much easier to look through this to find stuff. But for the most part, I was trying to use this more because I need to get up to speed with all the AI stuff. But then I haven't tried it yet because I read up on the AI integrations for IntelliJ, and I saw the reviews seemed to make it sound like they were really garbage. But I don't know. I think optimal coding uses both. For navigation, one of the big things in code is navigating. So I found like navigating code is way faster in the terminal. So a really common thing I want to do is go to end of file. So for that, I just do Shift G. So like, as soon as I think it Shift G, I'm instantly at the start. To go to the start of the file, it's slightly more strokes. So I go Control and 0, Escape, colon 0. That puts me in the start. And now if I want to go back to the end, I just go Control G. Because a big thing is like I'll remember approximately where a function is in the code. So we'll go Control G to go to the end, and then I can hop up through the braces. So if I hover over a brace in Vim, if you do go to the % key, it moves the cursor back and forth between the matching braces. So now I'm at the very last. So I could go between the end and the start brace, or I could go between that brace and up there. So now I'm up to this line, and then I want to hop up to the start of that function, and the start of that function, and the start of that function, and the start of that function. So it's and then a big thing is I often remember the name of something around where I was coding. So there was there's a print function called print change that was causing me some issues. So I just do / print, and now I'm immediately at those two references, and I can use and to go between them. So those are features that you just don't get in the IDE. But yeah, that navigation, that's big. I started also using the IDE because I thought maybe there would be some kind of like intelligent. I could make the build system more intelligent and do like faster compiling, but I haven't yet figured out a way to like in the configurations, yeah, the configuration here is basically just like the exact same thing. Like it's just running Maven the exact same way that I do in the command line. So there's no performance gain. But I'm thinking now there might be some way to like change around the Maven lifecycle or something, but that would be a Maven thing, not really a IntelliJ. I also find that IDEA can most often view the library code correctly and debug it. So it helps with some hard to debug stuff. Also the go-to helper is useful, like go-to implementation. Yeah, actually that's I think there are like for I would say just for like writing code, Vim is much more preferable. For debugging code, hands down, like a debugging code in Vim. Actually, I don't know of any. There probably are some Java debuggers for a terminal. But for debugging and like you know, control clicking into references and stuff like that. I guess if I was less familiar with the code, that would be if I was working on like an enterprise project with other people, then I probably would make use of that a lot more. The other thing is I'm often only working with like 1 or 2 files at once. So if you do plus and then the line number, you can use that. So if you know there's an error on line 1602, you just press that and you write at that line number immediately, which is I guess in IDE does that for you. You can just click on it and go to it. But I find that the advantage is often when you're switching between files, like if I'm, you know, there might even be a hotkey for that. Probably is to go between, to like switch back and forth. But I guess then you can maybe go forward a tab or something. But just being able to do up and go exactly to a line, it's a pretty convenient way of navigating. I guess that's kind of on par with probably what if you learn whatever hotkeys are. Let's see. Let's go into screen. So we get screen layer. What is maybe like Control N or something? No. Tab. Nope. There's a handy plugin to help learn all the shortcuts. Interesting. What does the plugin do? Does it just like give you tool tips and stuff? I also one reason I also prefer command line is like every few years the popular editor is different, but with Vim I can just never change. Like it used to be Sublime Text everyone was using, and then people are using Eclipse. I guess that was the Java one, and then now we're on to this one. Lots of people use VS Code. Reminds you with tooltips. when you don't use a shortcut. Oh, okay. Yeah, that would be a good way to do it. Well, I'll leave it here for tonight. I got my new fuzzing test case started. So I guess we'll pick it up tomorrow night for day 96. All right, talk to you guys later.